Another morning at Seoul National University, the main hall buzzed with chaos, students rushing, voices overlapping, footsteps echo as lecture were about to begin. The noise died instantly the moment Daen Kim stepped out of his office, silence spread like a warning. Kim Taehyung, the youngest Daen in the history of Seoul National University, Gans whispered, simped, stared. Greek god perfection wrapped in tailor suit, but his coldness was legendary, a glacier with eyes. Students still moved, but quietly now, then thud. The sound echoed through the hall, gasp follow, shock, horror. There she was. Kim Wyan, the bad beauty, the savage queen of university, crushed straight against Dan Kim's chest, her books scattered across the floor. Can't you see while she snapped, irritation sharp, then froze. Dan Kim. Taehyung was as stunned. This was the third time this week. Every encounter with her ended in disaster, but today surpassed them all. He stared for too long before his expression hardened. He spoke sharply. Miss Kim, can't you see while walking? And why are you late? He brushed her messy hair back, no comb, no efforts. A slice of bread with jam sat in her hand, half eaten, a bite still in her mouth. Sorry sir, she chewed, then spoke honestly. I was watching a drama last night. I didn't realize when it became 3 am. Silence, brutally honest, shamelessly real. He bite back both a groan and a smile. She could have lied, claimed assignments, blamed projects, but she never did. She always chose the truth, consequence be damned. He exhaled slowly, pointed to her books, picked them up and go to class. He said firmly, I'll see you after the lecture. He walked away. She crouched, gathering her books, rubbing her aching forehead with an annoyed pout. She didn't notice the dark eyes that followed her until she disappeared into her classroom. He shook his head. Such a disaster, he muttered, then quieter, possessive, but mine. As always, she claimed the very last bench, the backbencher, and the irony. She topped every semester without paying attention, without trying. Professor hated it. Student invade. Her phone buzzed. Is your forehead still aching? She pouted and replied, Of course it is. You owe me redemption. A deep, quiet laugh echoed somewhere else. Your Highness, your redemption is ready whenever you want. She smiled. I'll take it whenever I want. She dropped her phone and rested her head on the desk. Sleep claimed her instantly. A knock. The classroom froze. Dan Kim walked in. His gaze scanned the room, then stopped. Wyan, asleep, peaceful, unbothered. Disbelief flicked in his eyes. A girl stood up immediately. Dan Kim, Wyan is sleeping in class. Shouldn't you wake her up? He didn't even look at her. Taking her mid-sleep gave her a headache. The room went dead. How did he know that? When she wakes up, he added coldly, send her to my office. He laughed. Fear spread like a wildfire. She's done for. She's angered him. She angered him. The lecture ended. Someone shook her shoulder. Wyan, wake up. Dan Kim wants you in his office. She flinched awake. She groaned. Can't anyone speak quietly? She grabbed her bag and dragged herself out, rubbing sleep from her eyes, a pout resting on her lips. She didn't knock. She walked straight in. His head snapped up as the door shut. Where are your manners, Miss Kim? She dropped her bag onto a chair, then walked to him and sat on his lap. I don't need manners around my husband. His arm wrapped around her instantly, tight, claiming, Didn't I tell you not to bring a dramas last night? He murmured, finger threading through her ears. But it was romantic, she said lazily. I couldn't resist. And do you know where you are sitting? I know exactly where I am, on my husband's lap. I have every right, she replied calmly. He sighed. Wyan, we are in university, I know, she murmured, but I am tired, let me stay. Arguing was pointless, she was spoiled, precious, his weakness. He leaned back, letting her rest against his chest, then muttered against her pulse, What if someone walk in? What would they think of your Dane? I don't care, you are my legal husband, their opinions doesn't matter. She sat firmly, tilting her head, grant him space, his gaze darkened. Possession lingered beneath the surface, deep, quiet, dangerous. You will be the death of me someday, he said lowly. Good, she replied while smiling, patting his chest. After After resting there for a while, she returned to her class. Taehyung had a meeting to attend with teaching staff. This time, a silk handkerchief rested loosely around her neck. Of course, it was not fashion. It was concealment, the precious marks left by her dear Dian. Another lecture ended. Students whispered the moment they noticed the handkerchief, but no one dared to question it. Asking her anything usually earned them insults wrapped in effortless sass. And nobody wanted to be her next victim. Her best friend slid into the seat beside her, chuckling softly. Jeon Jungkook, Dan Kim's cousin brother and Wyan's closest friend. Lunch break came and they both sprawled across the university ground, sharing food peacefully. Correction, his food, because Jungkook had lost the bet. She had finished the drama series before him. You are so unfair. You are married, richer than me, still you waste my money, he sulked, stabbing at the food. She laughed, eyes sparkling, and winked at the sulking bunny beside her. She teased him, don't play the victim card, last time you did the exact same thing to me. Jungkook huffed, but a smile tugged at his lips anyway. Something, at least with her, was still simple. Taehyung leaned against the hallway wall, watching them from above. Two food monsters fighting over snacks, he whispered, chuckling quietly. Drama queens, he muttered. He was about to turn away until he saw Jack, the infamous university playboy, striding towards them with the red rose in hand. That lustful smile, that look. His attentions were clear, a proposal to his wife, his YN. Every nerve in Taehyung's body ignited, every muscle tightened. How dare he? He didn't move, he didn't blink. He simply was silent, letting the drama unfold from above. Jack approached. The crowd parted like bees around honey. He knelt before her, rose extended, grin wider. Wyan, he said with arrogance, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? Students leaned in, whispered, and cheers rippling through the crowd. Wyan froze mid-bite, glancing at him with absolute disgust. No, she said flatly, you are not my type. Her lip lifted slightly in a scowl as she took another bite of her food. From the hallway, Taehyung barely held back a laugh. Amusement flickered across his face, brief, dangerous. Beneath it lay something far darker. Jack's expression twisted. He glared at her, then jabbed a finger at her direction. You will be mine by hook or by crook, he snapped. If you had said yes, I would have treated you nicely, but now be ready for the consequence. She looked him over once, slowly, from head to toe. Go, she said dismissively. Then she looked away. Don't disturb my lunch. She returned to her food as if he had already ceased to exist. Jack stormed off, nostrils flaring, face flushed red with rage. Whatever was brewing in his mind was not clean. It never was. And in the hallway, Dan Kim had already decided when, how, and with whom things would end. Wyan and Jungkook continued eating like nothing had happened because they both knew it was already over. She glanced toward the hallway. Taehyung's gaze was fixed on her. Her phone buzzed. Remove the handkerchief. She frowned, confused, then met his eyes again, dark, hungry, possessive, without hesitation. She slipped the handkerchief off her neck. Jungkook froze. Wyan, he whispered, your neck. She glanced at him lazily. What about it? You have. He choked on his food. So, she replied calmly. Continue to eat. What's so shocking? Around them, students stared. Whispers spread instantly. She is taken. She is committed. Who is the poor guy enduring this chaos? Who loves her this much? Some students didn't whisper, they went silent. The handkerchief, the collision, the way Dan had not woken her in class. Mid-sleep awakening caused headaches. The private office visit, the dots connected slowly, horrifically. Is it the Dan? The question spread like fire across campus, and yet. Wyan kept eating, Jungkook kept chewing, completely unbothered. From the hallway, Taehyung turned and walked back to his office as if nothing had happened, when in the truth, everything had happened. The university went up in flames, no literal fire, but whispers, theories, outrage. The dots had connected too cleanly to be ignored. The Dan remained unbothered. Wyan didn't care. Jungkook laughed like it was free entertainment. The three of them being connected was no longer a question. It was obvious, painfully obvious, and then the final nail came. A small girl, no more than 3 years old, guards carrying her to Dan office. Wyan saw her. Instantly her eyes widened for a second before she went normal. Students froze because the child was not crying, was not scared. She kept repeating one word clearly, confidently. Shock washed over the campus the moment she was seen. She was a doll, soft hairs, big eyes, tiny hands. And she looked exactly like a female version of Kim Taehyung, his daughter. That was it. No Daniel, no theories, no room for delete. Kim Taehyung was married. Revelation overshadowed the rumors, the outrage for a while, only for a while, because later that day, Dan Kim walked past Wyan's classroom carrying the little girl in his arms. The child babbled happily, fingers tangled in his collar, completely at home, and every head turned because now it was not just rumor, it was proof that Mr. Kim is married and not involved with Wyan until the child looked inside the classroom through open door. The babbling stopped and then an excited shout echoed in the hallway. The word rang through the classroom. Everything froze, students stiffened, pen held in midair, even the lecturer stopped speaking, whispered, adapted instantly, "Is the Dane's wife here?" Every head snapped towards the female lecturer standing at the podium. For half a second, everyone assumed, then the assumption died. Because the little porcelain doll didn't move towards the podium, she toddled forward instead, tiny steps, unsteady balance. Absolute certainty straight to Wyan, gasp right through the classroom. The child stopped right in front of her, looking up with wide, familiar eyes. She sat again, louder this time, shock struck like lightning. Wyan didn't hesitate. She bent forward, lifted the little girl effortlessly, and settled her onto her lap as naturally as breathing. No fear, no confusion, no Daniel, just belongings, while Dan Kim stood unbothered in hallway watching the scan. Silence swallowed the room. Then Wyan Kim, someone whispered in disbelief. "Mrs. Kim, the final doubt died right here. No rumors, no theories, no questions left." Dan's wife was not a mystery anymore. She was sitting in the last bench of the classroom, calm, unapologetic, holding her child like she always had. The class was dismissed immediately. Within an hour, the university shifted into chaos and the matter was dragged straight to the administration office. Kim Taehyung sat there, not tense, not defensive, all unbothered and calm. Not even mildly concerned, he was even having his daughter on his lap. Finger absently playing with her soft hair, his expression was calm, almost bored. The administration officer slammed a file onto table. "Mr. Kim," he barked. "Are you aware that a relationship between a student and a professor is strictly forbidden in the university?" Taehyung chuckled softly, then he replied lazily, bored, clearly written on his face. "Of course I am aware, but when exactly did I enter such a relationship?" "Mr. Kim, the student Wyan Kim is your wife. That directly involves you." Taehyung tilted his head, amused, still smoothing his daughter's hair. "Officer, tell me something. How long has it been since I became the dean of the university?" The officer hesitated. "Almost 1 year, sir." Taehyung nodded slowly. "And how old do you think my daughter is?" The officer's eyes flicked to the child, Roha Kim, sitting on her papa's lap, all peaceful and rested. Her features were unmistakable. "Around 3 years old," he answered carefully. "Exactly." Taehyung's gaze lifted, then sharp, cold, predatory. "Are you genuinely stupid enough to believe a child born and turned 3 within 1 year?" he asked flatly. "Or do you lack the basic abilities to calculate?" The room went silent before Taehyung continued again, his voice calm but lethal. "Before I became the DN, I was already married, already a father. My wife was never my student while I held this position." He leaned forward slightly. "And if I become the youngest DN in the history of Seoul National University at the age of under 30, there is a reason for that." His eyes darkened. "So think carefully before you point fingers at my character or at my wife's. Because I don't forgive." His voice dropped, quiet and vicious. "Anyone who points a finger at my family loses that finger. I don't take back my words." He stood up, no permission asked, no explanation owed. With his daughter cradled securely in his arm, he walked out of the office as if nothing had happened. Roha giggled softly, distracted by the wide corridors, the open grounds, the flowers, the unfamiliar space. To her, it was just somewhere new. To everyone else, it was the moment they realized they had accused the wrong man. Everything remained quiet for exactly 1 day. On the next morning, the university woke up to hell. Jack was found in the restricted hostel area, an abandoned zone. No student was allowed to enter. The news exploded across campus within minutes. The name Kim Taehyung was whispered immediately. Everyone remembered the proposal, everyone remembered the public humiliation, everyone remembered the Dane's cold stare. The accusation was obvious. Revenge. But there was one problem. There was no proof. The police arrived, forensics stepped in. The area was sealed. Fingerprints were taken, fingerprints analyzed, camera checked, nothing. Toxicology confirmed it. His blood was flooded with alcohol. Empty whiskey bottles were found nearby. The final report was released coldly accidental that possible fell from rooftop under alcohol influence. Case closed. Some whispered about darkness, some blamed the place, some said the area was cursed and Kim Taehyung untouched. That night, she stared at her husband in silence, unbelieving. You are telling me, she spoke finally, that you just pushed him off the rooftop? Did you thought I would let a random bastard propose my wife and walk away? Taehyung spoke deadly as he looked up slowly. The darkness in his eyes was not rage, it was ownership. Then added deadly, do I look like a man who lets things go? Her breath hitched. On a quiet evening, she stood at the balcony of their penthouse, soul glowing beneath her feet. Taehyung came from behind, arm wrapped around her waist, solid and warm. He hummed darkly against her pulse. You scared them, she murmured, patting Roha, who was sleeping in her arms. I protected what's mine, he corrected calmly. She turned to face him. It's third time, Taehyung. He spoke, tensed at his possessiveness. No one should look at what's mine, he growled deeply against her pulse, his hold tightened around her even more. She took a deep breath, watched him taking Roha from her so carefully. You would do it again, wouldn't you? She spoke, staring at him, who was holding his daughter tenderly. You, every time. Without hesitation, he spoke, his dark eyes softly drinking the sight of his sleeping daughter. Taehyung exhaled slowly, not frightened, not surprised. She had married him knowing exactly who he was, a man who loved like a wolf and destroyed like a promise.